Title: The Silent Tide. Setting: England, 1853. The year was 1853, and the bustling docks of Portsmouth were alive with the scent of saltwater and the clang of shipyard hammers. The British Empire was at the height of its naval power, and in these waters, loyalty was as unpredictable as the shifting tides. Captain William Hargrove, a man of rigid discipline and quiet ambition, commanded the HMS Resolute, a majestic frigate that had seen battles from the West Indies to the Far East. His latest mission, however, was one that filled him with unease, a covert transport of precious cargo to a distant colony. The mission was cloaked in secrecy, even to the crew who only knew they were sailing eastward. At Hargrove's side was his trusted first mate, Thomas Gray, a sharp-witted seaman who had sailed with him for over a decade. They were brothers in arms, forged by the fires of war and tempered by the storms of the sea, or so Hargrove thought. Unbeknownst to the captain, Gray had been meeting in shadowed corners with a notorious smuggler, Elias Finch, whose fortune was built on betraying the crown. Finch's offer was simple: deliver the cargo to his waiting ships off the coast of Morocco, and Gray would walk away a rich man, never needing to see another day on the deck of a Royal Navy vessel. As the HMS Resolute set sail, the tension between the officers grew. Gray had become distant, often disappearing below deck for long stretches. Hargrove, ever perceptive, sensed something was wrong, but had no proof. Days turned into weeks as they charted a steady course through rough waters, but a storm was brewing that no one aboard could see. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sea glistened like molten gold, Hargrove found a hastily written letter in his quarters. It was unsigned, but the message was clear. There is treachery aboard. Beware of your closest ally. The captain's mind raced, his trust in Gray now hanging by a thread. He called for a private meeting with his first mate, confronting him under the guise of camaraderie. Gray, ever the silver-tongued, brushed off the accusation with ease, but Hargrove's suspicions remained. From that moment, Hargrove kept a closer eye on him, waiting for the right moment to act. The betrayal came one fateful night as the HMS Resolute approached the coast of Morocco. The crew was weary from a long day's sail, and the moonless sky left the ship in near total darkness. It was then that Gray made his move. Under cover of night, he sabotaged the rudder, making it impossible for the ship to steer. Finch's smuggler ships appeared on the horizon like ghosts, closing in on the stranded Resolute. Gray, thinking the crew too exhausted to notice, signaled to Finch with a lantern from the bow of the ship, a bright, unmistakable code. But Hargrove was prepared. He had stationed loyal men at key points throughout the ship. As Gray lit the final signal, Hargrove and his men sprang into action. A brief struggle ensued, and though Gray fought hard, he was no match for the determined crew of the Resolute. Hargrove, staring down at the man who had once been like a brother, felt both anger and sorrow. "I gave you everything," Hargrove said, his voice cold, "and you threw it away for gold." Gray, defeated but unrepentant, merely smirked. "Loyalty's a fool's game, William. The crown doesn't care for men like us." With Gray restrained, Hargrove ordered the crew to repair the rudder with what tools they had. As dawn broke, the Resolute was once again seaworthy. Finch's ships had long since disappeared, realizing their opportunity had passed. When they finally returned to England, Gray was handed over to the authorities, his fate sealed by his own greed. The crew of the HMS Resolute, though battered, returned home with their honor intact, and Captain Hargrove, now more wary of those he trusted, sailed on, knowing that betrayal could come from even the closest of companions. But the sea, like betrayal, is never truly silent. It whispers its warnings to those who listen.